Hello, welcome to a new asynchronous listening session. And this recording consists of several parts. And please follow attentively and the guidelines throughout the video. Now, and the topic of the script is microcredit, changing lives. And you are to start with a quiz, and you can click on here and to listen to the vocabulary with their definitions, and you can also read them simultaneously. And this part is very important, and it will ease your understanding and the text. And you are asked to complete the paragraph using the words above, and think about these questions before our next lesson. You will be better prepared for the lecture. Okay, and before getting started with the lecture, and please try to familiarize yourself with what microcredit is, and what is its function, etc. Okay. You can pause the video here and for look up or to understand the meaning of vocabulary, and then complete the paragraph and try to learn the answers to these questions. Okay. Now, let's start with skills focus and about microcredit. And before that, let's understand the function of numbers. And often when speakers give important information about days or numbers, they tend to shorten them. I say 2010 or 3.5 million, or just 34.8%, and they shorten the numbers to make them easier, and it will help you to to take your notes quickly. And you can see some common symbols when dealing with numbers. M signifies million, and K stands for thousand, and you see billion and percent, pounds, about, approximately, and equals, amount to, not equal, and money, and lots of money. Okay, and if you know more, you can add what you know to this list. Okay, now I will let you listen an extract and to skill focus, and while listening, and I'm gonna give you a few seconds to see what you need. Okay, now let's start.
Unit 5B, Economics, Microcredit, Changing Lives, page 85. Try it out.
Every year, more and more people don't make enough money to feed their families. From 1983 to 1993, about 1.1 billion people became poorer. Today, 2.9 billion people live on less than $2 a day. And did you know that 70% of those people are women? If we do not make some changes, by 2030, we will have 4.9 billion or more people living on only $2 per day.
Okay. You have some seconds to organize your answers. Okay. And for answers here, and today, and 2.9 billion people, 2.9 billion people live on less than $2 per day. Okay, and 70% are women. 70% of these people in poor are women. If we don't make any change by 2030, and 4.9 billion people will live on only $2 per day. Okay, only $2 per day. If we don't make any change by 2030, 4.9 billion people, 70% are women. Okay, now you know the answers. Okay, now I will let you watch the lecture, and while watching, please take your notes about the topic and the start of the village bank, the stages of the start of the village bank. You need to write 5 stages and differences. What makes difference the village bank from international banks? No, international, traditional banks, I mean, and results. So please pay attention. Did it work or did it fail? Um, and did it lead to positive results or did it cause more problems? Okay, while listening, please take your notes.
Today, I'd like to talk about world economics. In particular, I want to look at one idea that's improving the lives of many poor people. This idea is called the village bank. It was started by a man named Muhammad Yunus, an economics professor in Bangladesh. Let's talk first about why Professor Yunus started the bank. Then we'll look at how the bank has changed people's lives. In 1974, a famine killed more than 1.5 million people in Bangladesh. Professor Yunus saw thousands of poor and sick people coming into his city looking for work and food. He knew that somehow economics could reduce their suffering. To study this idea further, he went to a Bengali village to learn more about the lives of the poor. There, he talked with many people. For example, he met Sugai Begum, a single mother who bought food for her 3 children by making bamboo stools. These are like small chairs. Each day, Sugai got money from moneylenders called middlemen. She'd take 5 taka, or about 22 cents US, and use that money to buy bamboo, which, interestingly, was sold by these same middlemen who'd loaned her the money. Well, then she'd labor all day making bamboo stools, and at the end of the day, she'd sell them for a total of 5 taka and 50 paisa, or about 24 cents total. So, after working all day, she'd earned a total of 2 cents. And guess who purchased the stools? Right, those same middlemen. Now, her bamboo stools were worth much more on the free market, but the middlemen were the only people who lend her money. They controlled the market. So, as you can see, there was an economic problem here. Well, Sugai wasn't alone. Professor Yunus talked to other villagers and learned that many were just like her in this same strange business relationship with the middlemen. So, Professor Yunus loaned each of these people the money they needed, about 62 US cents per person. This freed them from the middlemen and let them buy and sell on the open market. And guess what? All of them were able to pay Professor Yunus back. So, Professor Yunus had found a new way to fight poverty with microcredit. MICRO. Microcredit. That is, making small loans to poor people so they can grow their businesses and earn more money. Well, then, Professor Yunus tried to take this discovery to traditional international banks. But they weren't interested in lending money to the poor. They didn't believe that poor people could earn the money they'd need to repay their loans. So, Professor Yunus and a few others decided to start a bank that would be very different from traditional banks in three important ways. First, unlike traditional banks that require people to already have some money in order to get a loan, the village bank gives loans to the poorest people. This means giving loans to mostly women, because about 97% of the world's poor are women. Second, traditionally, banks give loans to individuals or companies. But the village bank works with small groups, usually 5 to 10 people. The group members decide who's the poorest, and those people get their loans first. Everyone else receives their loans only after the neediest members have repaid theirs. So members feel support, but also social pressure to work hard and repay their loans. The third way the village bank differs from traditional banks is location. Most banks are in cities, right? And who does that exclude? Yup, villagers. So the village bank has set up more than 2,000 branches throughout villages in Bangladesh. And each branch has what are called bicycle managers. Why? Because they go by bicycle to borrowers' houses, where they discuss how business is going and give advice. Now, do these small loans really have an impact on people's lives? Well, I think the story of Razia Begum will answer that. For years, Razia lived with her family in Bangladesh in great poverty, some days having nothing to eat. Then one day, she went to the village bank and got a $30 loan. With the loan, she bought a cow. In turn, she began selling things like milk and butter. She then used that money to buy more cows. After a while, she'd saved enough money to buy land. Then she sold the land and used those profits to send her son to Saudi Arabia to work. From the money he sent home to her, she bought more land and sent her daughter to school, the first girl in the family to get an education. So, on a $30 loan, Razia Begum moved from poor to middle class. It's quite a success story, huh? And this story is typical among village bank borrowers. About 64% of them have crossed over the poverty line. So, you tell me, can a little loan make a big difference?
Okay, you have some seconds to organize your answers, your notes. Okay, now Let's put here. Let me help you for an example note taking. And the topic is the note, I mean here, notes on an emergence of the village bank. See, just you can note down as the village bank, the appearance of village bank. Okay, the start of village bank, and Muhammad Yunus, a professor, an economic professor in Bangladesh. You can also write prof in economics. Okay, and also a famine in 1974, and famine, is a serious lack of food that continues for a long time. And so the Yunus saw economics and could solve problems. Okay, and so learning and more about the poorest people. You see, learning more about the poorest people, and the next stage in the process of sorry in the process of and establishing the village bank. Okay, and next one, and loan people in need. Okay, to loan, and loan is giving some amount of some amount of money to people or companies to borrow. Okay, loan people and give some amount of money to people in need. And also micro credits, and you can write micro credit, which is a small amount of money that is given to the poor to help them grow their business. Okay, so we have completed 5 stages of the start of the village bank. Let's see the differences in the village bank. The first difference, and you see, it gives loans to the poor. Unlike traditional banks, they don't give loans to the rich, but they give loans to the poor. And the second difference, and it works and with, let's say, with groups of people of 5 to 10. And unlike traditional banks, they don't work with individuals or big companies. And the last difference is location. See, traditional banks are set in big cities, but village banks are set basically in villages. So let's talk about the result. We say it worked and it helped the poor move to middle class. Okay, so we can see or write them as results. Okay, now you can watch the lecture one more time, but before watching, please take a quick look at the questions. Okay, who created the bank and where was the first one? Why was it started? And what was Sugai Begum's business? And how much does she earn every day? And how did the middleman control the market? What is microcredit? And what three things that Professor Village Bank different? And what do bicycle managers do? And give 4 details of the story, Rizia Begum. Okay. Now let's see the answers. Okay. And the first question, who created and where was the first one? Here, and Muhammad Yunus, the professor, created the village bank, and the first branch of the village bank was located in a Bengali village. Okay, and why was the bank started? And because and he thought the economics could reduce their suffering, and their suffering as a result of famine, and they got sick and they became poorer. Okay, and next question, what was Sugay Begum's business? Okay, her business was making bamboo stools. It's a kind of seat, and uh, seat having legs but no backs, no place for your backs, and like small chairs. And next question, how much does Sugai Begum earn every day? Okay, and she earned per day a total of 2 cents. Okay, how did the middleman control the market? And the middlemen were the only people who would lend money to the people in need. So they controlled the market because they were the only source uh, of lending money. And what is microcredit? Microcredit is making small loans to poor people so that they can grow their businesses and earn more money. This is the definition of microcredit. And what three things make Yunus Village Bank different to a traditional bank? Okay, Village Bank is different because uh, it gives loans to the poorest people. And it's different because it works with small groups, usually 5 to 10 people. And it's different because and it has been set up in villages. Okay, and what do bicycle managers and do? And the bicycle managers go by bicycle to borrowers' houses where they discuss how business is going and give advice. Okay, and give 4 details of the story of Rizia Begum. And now one detail is she and her family and lived in great poverty, and she got a loan, a $30 loan, and she bought a cow, and she saved enough money to buy land. Okay, okay. Now, and let me watch you a video for dictation, and you will hear and 6 statements, and at the end of the video I will give you some seconds, and then I will show you the answers. Okay.
1. Today, I'd like to talk about world economics. Today, I'd like to talk about world economics. 2. Then we'll look at how the bank has changed people's lives. Then we'll look at how the bank has changed people's lives. Three. Somehow, economics could reduce their suffering. Somehow, economics could reduce their suffering. Four. They controlled the market. They controlled the market. Five. There was an economic problem here. There was an economic problem here. Six. This means giving loans to mostly women. This means giving loans to mostly women. Seven. Can a little loan make a big difference? Can a little loan make a big difference?
Okay, please pause the video here and to check your answers. Okay, and these are the answers for the dictation. Okay, this is the end of the session, and thank you. See for on a new asynchronous session recording. Okay, thank you.